Let's bring in someone I'm hoping is part of the solution to this and that is not going to be swayed by this. Democrat, member of Congress, ran for president. I would expect to see it again. From California, Eric Swalwell. Representative, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks for having me back, Chris.
So we know each other. We got mutual friends, so I'll make it a personal appeal. Help me, brother. Help me understand the crazy that I'm hearing from a party that I was raised in that doesn't sound anything like a group that you would be identified with.
There's no excuse for violence, period. I don't want to be associated with anyone who thinks violence is the answer. And so those folks who conduct violence against police officers, it's wrong. They should be prosecuted. And if we're going to say that about those who stormed the Capitol, we should say the same thing about someone who would do that to an ICE agent, period.
What do you say to the leadership who really haven't said anything about this?
Well, the issue is affordability. That's what people care about. They were promised lower costs on day one. We're approaching day 200. Donald Trump is 0 for 200. Affordability in their health care, affordability in housing, affordability for their kids to get educated and compete in this workforce. So that's what I think we should be laser focused on, because that speaks to the people I grew up with, the people who get up before the crack of dawn, the people who use their hands when they go to work. That's what they care about, and that's what they want from us. And if we're talking about that, I think we're connecting.
Amen. I just think that there's space to say, and if you are enough of a jackass to try to attack law enforcement because we don't like the enforcement policies of this administration, you are not with us, because this is not what we are. Schumer, Jeffries,
right.
everybody's
quiet.
quiet.
I have credibility as this. I think I have credibility as the son of a cop, a brother to two cops, and a former prosecutor who has put people in jail for attacking cops, to say that these ICE agents would do themselves a lot of favor and have more credibility if they did not wear masks and they identified themselves more. Because if they are standing on lawfulness, they shouldn't be afraid to show their faces. And so that part bothers me as well, that no other law enforcement agency operates routinely the way that they're doing this, and it's terrorizing people. That's not a reason to attack them, but that would give them more legitimacy.
I got a question for you about that. I hear you.
Yeah,
you're right. It's menacing. It's scary. But they've been getting doxxed more than anybody else in law enforcement, Eric. And a lot of these men and women have families, and their identities, their addresses, their numbers are getting put out there. It's almost up 700% in terms of them being assaulted. I mean, can you really not understand why there could be more than one thing going on at the time? One, it's a bad look, hyper-aggressive. Two, they're worried about their families.
100%. And as somebody who has probably the top 5 most threats any member of Congress gets, who spent over $1 million in the last couple of years on security, I get it, but you should prosecute aggressively anyone who threatens them. I've actually pushed to expand the law enforcement capabilities when somebody makes a threat against a federal official, because right now it's too damn hard to go after somebody, and people know just the right words to say so that they're not prosecuted. And they do this to Republicans, they do this to Democrats, they're doing it to law enforcement. But to have credibility in the community, because they've been doing this since day one, they've been wearing masks. So to say that they've been doxxed, yes, they have been doxxed, but they started out under the Trump administration with this posture, and I think that is terrorizing the community as well.
Listen, I'm not arguing that point. I think it's overreach. And look, we get it. We get the facility of the argument. Anyone who enters illegally, de facto, they are criminals, and they are all eligible for deportation. Yeah, but it's so contextually out of whack with the reality in this country. And we're seeing the president kind of try to find that measure. It's hard for him because he talked it up so much. And the brown menace, as I call it, that now for him to be moderate, it's the same problem they have with the Epstein files, is once you feed people all the crazy and all of a sudden you want to pull back from crazy, you have a problem. See, that's why I wanted you on so much, Eric, for this conversation, because I see you as a fair broker. You can be tough. You're a tough guy, and you go toe-to-toe with people. And for instance, I don't agree with your point that Doge cuts had anything to do with what happened in Texas. But you're not doing it in a way.
First, they're still looking. They're
well,
still
I'm just
looking
saying that,
for
that argument,
kids.
you make it, though, with humanity. You don't make it like this is why it happened, like Chris Murphy in Connecticut. So I'm just saying, I don't agree with the point. Like, how do we know it had anything to do with Doge?
Yeah, my point as a parent who has kids at camp is that we put every ounce of our lives into protecting our kids. And our hearts drop when we drop them off into the hands of strangers. And all we want is those strangers to be trained and have the best information. It's too early right now to know exactly what happened. We should find every missing person, and it's our duty as lawmakers to understand what happened, period.
I got one more thing for you, Eric. And by the way, the invitation is open. Whenever you want to come on NewsNation, we're a startup. Everybody, we're getting familiarized. But whenever you want to come on to make the case, I know we're doing all right. But and a big part of that is because we get guys like you to come on. So it's an open invitation whenever you feel that there's a need for balance. I want to ask you one more kind of macro question here. I don't believe what we're seeing on the left as a populist movement gets you guys where you want to be, which is back in the majority. I don't believe it. I think trying to match MAGA is a mistake. And I get the grievance is real, and I get constituents are pissed. But I cannot believe that Democrats, just as a matter of tradition, can see trying to ride a wave of anger to any kind of success. What do you think about it?
Yeah. To me, we should be a party that tells people, if you're going to risk it all, work your ass off, and bet on yourself, your country should bet on you. And so, to me, it's not about being aggressive and mean and personal about it. It's about being strong when you have power. Because when we had the White House, the Senate, and the House, for example, no mom in America said that her kids were safer at school from mass shootings because we let the filibuster, for example, get in the way of background checks and an assault weapons ban. So if we make the case that if you give us power, we will fight hard for popular policies as hard as Republicans fight when they have power for unpopular policies. I think that's a big problem, is that we're not perceived as flexing that power to get things across the goal line for what people really want. And so that's a change that I have noted and that needs to be addressed as we go forward.
Meat and potatoes, baby. That's what's always gotten it done for your party. It was always the working man's salvation. And if it's anything other than that, I don't see any success coming along with it. Yeah. Right, exactly. That's what Mario would tell you. Congressman Swalwell, take care and thank you, and good luck doing the work of the people.
My pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.